Hello, one and all, and welcome to Cymatic TV. We're going to be going into the crazy stuff that's been going on in the sun and all the eruptions that have been happening and how it relates to you and me and our chakras and our aura, our energies, and also what it actually means to the earth and pole shift in particular. So without further ado, let's just jump straight on in there.
Don't believe, just know. Cymatic TV, turning vibration into reality.
So this all started some time ago, as you can well see, at the beginning of the month of May. The sun has been very active. I've counted up to around about 15 Xflares, I think, over the last sort of 2 weeks at least, going off of the sun, which you can well see down there below. Let's just have a quick look at it here. This is over the last sort of 10 days. Let me just bring that out of the way. So it's going to the 12th pretty much, and that was the one that happened just sort of yesterday there. And then we have had one on the 13th as well. But as you can see, you can count them off: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. As I said, I think there was like 15, 16 X-flares that have been going off on the sun, and not all were directed in the direction of the earth, but certainly a lot were. And we can see by the the ISWA. Let's just see these eruptions here as they're coming into the direction of the earth here. There's a multitude of eruptions, and you can see as well that they're going at different speeds. So let's just bring it forward here. So here we go. Here, they start coming off here on sort of 9th, 10th as it comes off in the direction of the earth. And then just look at that little one there that's sort of jumping through, as it were. You can see it as it comes through there. It just comes through there, just sort of showing the different types of speeds that actually comes through. That one that just comes through right at the last moment there. You can see on this LASCO sort of satellite, you can see the halo eruptions that start happening the moment we get the two planets that start coming into view. So here's the first one there. You can see it going off and around. There was the second, and there was the third, and there was the fourth. And this is one thing that no one's really been talking about, you know, because the X-flares, as you can see by that of what was happening in that direction, you know, coming in that direction of the earth. Just look at that up the top there. You know, you would have thought there would be major stuff going on. And I've been trying to do this video here for the last 4 days. I've recorded 2, and there was problems with it. Now, I do healing. I get into magnetic fields. I look at magnetic fields. I see auras and stuff like that. And, so I get into planets and to retrograde and stuff like that. And I noticed that Mercury wasn't in retrograde. So, I was thinking, why can't I get this video out? And this brings me onto the whole pole shift thing, really, more than anything else. And you can see with all of those sort of vibrations that's been hitting the sun, and we had that the KP index that went into major geomagnetic storm zones that we haven't seen in the likes over the last sort of 20, 30 years. Quite intense. And, a lot of people were talking about it. And even I was well up with the same sort of idea that this is going to affect satellites. May affect sort of electrical systems and so forth. There's definitely the possibility of that. Looking at the magnetic field of the earth and how weak the magnetic field of the earth is, makes us a lot more sort of prone to sort of solar eruptions, even if they're not massive. So these were X-flares. They, obviously they're not massive X-flares either. And you got to understand how the energy sort of transfers between sort of planets. The Earth needs eruptions in our direction. it helps to keep the planet, the magnetic field, in a really good state. Now, to be honest, the majority of the flares that have been coming off of the sun over the past few years have not really been directed towards Earth. It's been more directed around Earth, either before or beside it. So it's creating a lot of stuff around Earth, but not necessarily in it. And this is all to do with that magnetic field and that pole shift that we're sort of going into. So everyone was expecting all of this sort of stuff to do with electrical sort of components and what have you, but nothing really happened. There was very minor interruption in networks. There was very minor localized eruptions or complications in regards to substations, electrical substations, and so forth. And there wasn't really something massive, to be honest. I was looking as well at Null's School, which is the wind map, and there's usually these sort of eruptions. They help to provoke sort of big storms, hurricanes and sort of that. We're not in hurricane season, so I can understand why it didn't. But even then, even still, it was really calm. The earthquakes as well have been reasonably, in fact, reasonably very calm. There's been nothing on the radar to sort of show the geomagnetic storm that we have been through. We've been through equivalent of a little hurricane from the sun. The only thing that has been really noticeable is the auroras. Now, the auroras have been coming very south. Again, I've already gone into it on this channel, but it's going to be a repeating factor that's going to keep coming back and coming back. And this is where the electrical system, the electromagnetic system that we live in, and everything is connected. The Earth is taking it on the atmospheric sense, but it's also taking it on in the center. And then these two, from the center and from the atmosphere, as they come together, there's a compressing point in the atmosphere, and that usually causes those sort of storms and so forth. But we haven't seen that, to be honest. It's been very light. Now, so in regards to the Earth itself, it was as if the Earth was, I was getting the impression over the last sort of 4 or 5 days as I've been watching this unfold, that the Earth has been sitting there and listening. That's what it seemed to be doing. And it came to me literally yesterday, the reason why I couldn't do the videos, because I should be listening. When we're observing these eruptions from the sun and how it affects the Earth and how it affects you and I, we must understand that this is also like a conversation at a cosmic level. And we're like children sitting around the fire, listening to the adults talk, tell stories, but also, talking about the events of the day. And it seems like it's more than anything else, it was an information exchange from the sun to the Earth. And this is where we come into the pole shift factor that's been going on the Earth. So there is a particular thing that was going with one of the eruptions, which gave us this telltale sign. Now, usually when you get eruptions, as we can see here, hang on a second, as we can see here, these eruptions give out flashes. In this particular point here, you can see these flashes. They tend to be straightforward flashes. Now, here you can see that here on this left-hand side here, you'll see that like the flash comes straight towards the camera, as it were. But there is one particular instant, and it's just coming up right now, here, you can see where the flashes are being straightforward, and now we have that curling flash. Did you just see that? Let's just bring that up a little bit closer so we can see it here. This is where all the eruptions came from. And as you can see, the eruptions, you can see they're pretty much flashes that go straight forward. But here, just as it comes through to the end, that's where you get that spinning aspect there. Now, that spinning aspect, to me, because it's in the direction of the Earth, it's sending a spiral, and it does do this anyway, generally. But this is the first time I've really seen this on the sun. And I've been looking at the sun now for 25 years, 25, 30 years. In the very primitive days of the internet, I, started looking at the sun. And I haven't really seen this sort of activity before. Sometimes with the plasma, you can get this sort of like where the plasma stream, as it goes out, it creates a loop, and then this loop twists upon itself and then ejects outwards. And this is now, we're starting to see it in a light factor that's going on. And this is what I think has actually gone on in the conversation, as we can just see it here, this spiraling factor coming towards the Earth, those flashes that come off, and that spiraling factor. Now, I think this is where the sun is almost sort of saying to the Earth, giving it direction more than anything else. It's saying to the Earth, now is the time to go into pole shift. It's helping the Earth to invert its energies. And this conversation is as I say, on a planetary scale. And I am just observing it like you are observing it. But yes, it does affect us. Now, one of the reasons why I thought that it would have a high effect upon the satellites or the electrical systems was the fact that usually I can feel when the sun's going off. That's my own perspective. You can dispute that if you like. I don't mind. I don't care. I can only tell you what I feel. I can feel, and I've got many people I know around the world who also feel it. We're talking sometimes with some very good friends, close friends of mine, and in the middle of the conversation, the person usually sort of say, is there a solar flare going off? Because I'm starting to feel it. In certain aspects of your organs, and so like for females having hot flushes and etc. It's very interesting. And this time here, I was getting a headache, and now obviously you've got the opposite spheres in the brain, and we do know that when the solar flares do go off, there's a high increase of alpha waves within the brain as well. And this is only as far as the scientists can go in their tests of how they test things, but I can only tell you what I feel. And I had sort of headaches, and yes, it has been affecting migraines within people, and also heart and respiratory sort of situations as well in the lead up during those eruptions. What is now coming into place, and we're now Monday the 13th of May, what will start coming out this coming week is that vibration that is rippled back from the center of the Earth. Now, this on a physical level for everybody, this may come out as such as eczema. I do healing on during the week. That's my daytime job, as it were. And I think I will be receiving a lot more clients who have eczema or psoriasis sort of complaints, or skin conditions, or even kidney conditions and so forth. I would be expecting a lot more of that. The other thing I'll be expecting as well is also joints, the cartilage sort of scenario going on there. Because as that energy courses through our brain, through our bodies, the cartilage acts as like a little bit of a sort of fuse going on more than anything else. It limits the amount of energy coming through, and this can cause a little bit more sort of pressure on your joints and so forth. So make sure you drink on a regular basis, you get a little bit of exercise, try not to eat too much meat, that sort of helps out as well. Those sort of things, being very practical about life. And we should be able to sort of feel this. But I actually think it is all to do with pole shift. And I think what was actually happening here is the sun is activating the pole shift. And that comes in stages. And those stages now we've certainly seen it with the aurora borealis that comes a lot more south, from 2023 that it broke all records. We had the Earth speeding up in its rotation, breaking all records in 2023 as well. So it's been a continual theme that there's gradually more and more signs of it actually sort of happening to the Earth, and it seems to be speeding up as well. The other thing I have noticed going on across the globe is there seems to be a lot more floods these days. Yes, there was that big flood in Dubai, but there's been a lot of floods everywhere, in Africa as well, South America, in Asia, in a lot of places. And this has a lot to do with the activity of the sun and the charged particles that come in the direction of the Earth and make a lot of sort of clouds and participation. Yeah, I'm having problems with that word. Precipitation, that's the word, for rainfall and so forth. Yeah. So, I have noticed that there's a lot of sort of changing going on. But how is it affecting you as an individual? How's it affecting me? This is where we have to get into what I would perceive as like the conversation. This is me listening to the conversation on a very physical level without me channeling any energy, without me going down any ley lines, just by observing what is going on. Now, when the sun erupts, it affects the electromagnetic field of the Earth pretty much straight away. And we can see that here as it's coming through, the sun that's actually comes through. When it goes red, then therefore that's a flare going off on the sun at this particular moment. And as we go forward, we can see this one of these Xflares, which happened on Friday, on the Friday the 10th, is it? It's down here. It's on the 9th, sorry, on the 9th. Yeah, that plays in this section, going over America, Mexico, and so forth. And we've seen there's been an uptick in the earthquakes. We'll go into that in a minute. But if you just have a look on the right-hand side, you have this is my chakra map of the Earth that I've done 25 years ago, probably even more than that now. Blimey, time goes by when you're having fun. And it follows that line there, that blue line that goes up through there. It sort of comes up through here and then goes across there. And that was a similar line of what was on the eclipse, the solar eclipse, basically. And it seems to be highlighting that. Now, that was the last of several flares that came in the direction of the Earth. And it has been reacting with the polar regions enormously ever since. So let's just go and let's just follow 4 of them on a on a time lapse sort of scenario. So this is the first one of the first 4. We've actually had 7 flares, possibly an 8th today as well, coming through in the direction of the Earth. And this is only the first 4 that we're actually dealing with. So the first one that went off here, you can see it encompasses the crown chakra, which is in this section here. You get the third eye and the throat chakra, which is up here, and it's slightly touching the solar plexus here, but it's mainly in this section between the crown chakra and the third eye and the throat chakra. So this is what this was the first one that came through. This is where I was starting to get the headaches as well. So this is all in this section here. And this is where maybe this is the information that's coming through for the conversion or the speeding up of the pole shift. The next one that comes along after that, and this is the second flare that comes along, is much more over by this one here, which we can say is the sacrum. It does come over and touch a little bit on the third eye and the throat chakra. Now, the third eye and the throat chakra is actually only one chakra. It's not 2 chakras, it's 1 chakra. It's your third eye is like, you can call it the front of the chakra, and your throat is the back. It's like, it does like a U shape, where most our other chakras, such as the solar plexus, is just like a trumpet out the front and a trumpet out the back. it's in a straight line, but it's like bent over, and that's what creates the third eye and the throat chakra. But it does tie into, once you get into the sacred geometry, it does play off as its opposite is the sacrum. So I think this is where it's starting to play between the two. So it's giving ideas for fundamental changes within the way in which we interact with the world around us. That is the message between those two flares there that I am getting, that I am interpreting through this vibration that's coming through. And then we get the third one, which is here, which is now we're getting the up here you have the heart chakra, and you have the the crown chakra. Not really touching any other chakras either. It's only touching those two there. So now we're coming back to this section here. So it started up around here with the crown chakra and the third eye and the throat chakra, and then it went down to the sacrum chakra, and now it's gone back up to the crown chakra, but also the heart. So it's actually widening its sort of connection, as it were. And then after that, we had the fourth one, which is what we only have here at the moment, which is what I was talking about earlier on, which is touching the sacrum up here at Mount Shasta, and also down the root chakra down in Lake Salida, which is down in South America, the highest Salt Lake City. Salt Lake, blimey. Oh, yes, Salt Lake. The salt of the earth. It's the root chakra. But the thing is, the root chakra, one thing you'll notice here, that the root chakra has got the combination between the blue line and the red line, but so does the crown chakra. And they're using exactly the same lines. And that's because our crown chakra and our root chakra are actually the same chakra. That is the front and that is the back. Or you can say that is the back, that is the front. Doesn't really matter. It's like one flower at the top and one flower at the bottom. And then there's that kundalini, that staff of Tot. That's what that is. That's that staff of Tot, that kundalini that rises up through you and comes back down, and it goes up and down. As it goes up and down, it creates crossing points as it goes round itself, which then create the horizontal chakras within our body system, like the crossing points in the staff of Tot, or the codices, explaining the human, or explaining the universal energy system, because we find exactly the same system on animals, find it on trees. Everybody adheres to the same system. So when God said, or in texts across religions, they said, we are created in the image of God. It doesn't necessarily mean that God is a human. This is where we shouldn't confide, have the idea that us as humans, in our own individual sort of state, we're not really gods. Yes, we have that God energy running through us, like everything has that God energy running through us, but we are not gods. We are like a memory stick trying to download a little bit of information off of Google. Yeah, I can't put Google on that memory stick. That's how it works. So, our interaction with the big spirit, or the great cheese, the big kahuna, whichever you want to call whichever language you use to describe the concept of God, we all have a different sort of conversation, because we're all looking for different information from the overall universal sort of vibration that goes on through it. So this is one of those sort of rhythms that I look into when I'm trying to sort of see what the overall energies are going on. And here I think it's all to do with pole shift. I think it's bringing us to a point here where it's creating that crown and that root chakra together, but also combining the third eye and the throat chakra with the crown. And with the root chakra, you've got the sacral chakra that's also been connected to it. The only chakra that didn't turn up was the solar plexus. Now, it doesn't mean that it didn't really exist or has no point in the situation at the moment, because it may have come out in the other four Xflares that we've had since, but also at the same time, it could be the vibration that comes back out. Now, there is another rhythm that I'd like to show you now, which is the rhythm of the earthquakes. And this is how the earth actually starts talking to us. So as you can well see here, let me just take that back a little bit. Okay, so here we have it here. Here we have, I've superimposed my my chakra and my line map upon the sequencing of the earthquakes. And what you want to see is there is some rhythms that are going on. They all tend to follow particular lines as they come through. You can see up here, certainly in Americas, it goes along that red line, and then you've got that crossing point in the Caribbean. But look at that. Did you just see what happened there? Just up there, let me just go back a little bit. Look at this rhythm that you'll see in this section here. And we're starting to see that more and more with this sort of animation, that we can see this. And this is that ripple coming from that blue line, which comes down to that big earthquake which we had down in Mexico, which has all come off of the Caribbean as well. There's a certain rhythm going on that Caribbean section there. So you can see that rhythm sort of like there, it just flows through there. You can see it like just coming through in this section here, and it flows through there. It's a little bit messy going up through the Americas. That's because you've got a lot more sensors in North America, so it tends to be a little bit, you get caught up in that, that sort of white noise in a way that's going up behind that. But if you go back to the beginning of that sequencing here, you can just sort of see the main chakras that have been playing are the root chakra, the sacrum, but there has been a lot going on with that connection there with the solar plexus. There is a little bit there's one gone off there in up by the heart chakra, and that came around about that same time as that Xflare that came through. But there has been nothing really significant in the way of that. At the moment, this is where we had the big eruption down in Mexico. It is actually now starting to filter out through that. Let me just show you where that's filtering out. It's filtering out down this line here more than anything else. It's giving it pushback on that line there, as you can well see. It comes back down there, and you can see that there. There's a 5-pointer there, but there's been mainly the ones round the solar plexus. So this is when sometimes I think the conversation, we get, I normally get, people were talking about a kill shot. And in order to have this kill shot, you really need to have a combining components together that go together rather than just one thing more than anything else. It's not just about the one flares, it's also about filament energies and also corona hole energies. This sunspot here, I think, will be the one that may pop on the next day or so. Let's just see what's going on there. As you can well see, there is a filament that goes across there on that sun there. And it's holding that sunspot together, that filament. It's acting as a cable that connects the negative to the positive. And we can see that on this map here. If we can just bring that section up here, here's that sunspot. You get the red on the leading edge, and then you got the blue, the positive and the negative, and that filament that's holding those two together. There isn't a great deal of mixing going on. They're sort of really sort of standing off with one another, but I think that's more sort of coming through more than anything else. And I think this is what the what we need to take into account for kill shots, for where things are really going to start affecting it, is when the pole shift really starts. We really start seeing it magnetically upon the surface of the earth. And what also needs to happen, if that's going to actually happen, is these elements that are coming through here. As you can well see here, you've got the filament energies, but you've got the coronal holes, and then you've got the following up with the Xflares as well. You need all of those elements coming on together and hitting the earth together. And we didn't see that time. This time it was literally just electrical, and this is why I think it was mainly for the pole shift that's going on in the earth, and it was like the sun was triggering it and advancing it a lot more. So for you and for me in particular, the things that were actually coming together seems to be, and this is where it's going to play out this week. It's like the solar plexus is coming from within. That's what we saw on the rhythms of the earthquakes. That's the main thing that was coming out of that. There was also, you got a lot of the root and the sacrum as well. And the things that's coming in from the outside tends to be a little bit more on the way of crown, third eye, throat, and heart. So it's the combining of the two. It's very much earth section. So all of this top section here was what's coming in, and all of the bottom section is what's coming out. And this is also emphasizing that sort of pole shift scenario, the two sections of the energies. So what it's asking, as far as the conversation is going and how we can help the situation, is by initiating our fundamental desires in a very sort of affirmative way, without any sort of aggression or anything like that, but being affirmative on the common sense of all of this. And this is what we can bring to the party more than anything else. And as we bring that common sense to the party, we can then combine it to the lofty ideas of consciousness, which we all have within us. So for the next week, it'd be interesting to sort of take your fundamental ideas and what you would like to do in life, and really sort of how you will apply them in the greater aspect of the consciousness and the heart and the third eye, throat chakra, really using the intuition of the world around you, being very sensitive of what's going on, and then applying your force into your world. It will make your world better, therefore it will make my world better, therefore it will make everybody's world better. So that's what I think the messages that are coming through at the moment. It's asking us to step up to the plate and be upright citizens of the cosmic conversation that's going on. I will be trying to get out to do a bit of dowsing as well. I have a lot on my plate at the moment. I've got my sister channel, which is the Astro Flower. We've seen it in the tarot reading over there. All this energy coming through with the fire and air energy that I've been talking about. So that I've got a lot of stuff going on there. I've also got a lot of stuff trying to create this studio as well, as I'm gradually getting there, slowly but surely, one thing at a time. So yeah, I'd be fundamentally putting my energies into getting the physical side into place, so I can convert it into that consciousness, that third eye, throat, and heart energy that we all need to get involved in, as far as I can see. Okay, so yeah, there you go. That's my report. That's my analysis of what's been going on in the solar flares of recent. I think there's going to be a few more. I would have thought it's going to die down a bit in June, July, August, September, and then I think it'll kick back in again in October, November. But in the meantime, just enjoy the exploration of the energies, basically, more than anything else. There you go. Thank you very much for all the support and your patience, more than anything else, with this channel. I am seriously trying to get it to a stage where we can do a lot more, but in the meantime, I really do appreciate the support that you give this channel, and that can be through liking, sharing, commenting. There's multitudes of ways in which you can really show your appreciation through YouTube, and I really do appreciate that. Sharing is a really good thing. Getting this information out there, helping everybody to get involved in the conversation, the cosmic conversation that we're all part of. Yes, in the meantime, either I'll see you over at Cymatic, over at the Astro Flower, or I'll see you here on Cymatic TV. Whichever way it is, it'd be lovely to see you again. Thank you very much for your support. And in the meantime, don't forget, life should be fun, so please do enjoy.